Hello and welcome. My name's Campbell and this is Autodidactic Channel. And of course, autodidactic means to be self-educated. And have a look around, guys. In a world like this, we definitely need to be educating ourselves on what is going on and what has gone on in the past. So today I would like to have a look at a place I found in Turkey, and it is called the Rock Tomb of Kapilikaya. Kapilikaya? Kapili something. Let's jump into it. Okay, so I'm on Megalithic Marvels here. I'll leave all these links in the description below. And this, as you can see, is a rock tomb basically out in the middle of a mountain range. So just a bit of info. The present-day country of Turkey is home to many well-known megalithic sites, such as Göbekli Tepe, Hattushi, and Midas Kenti. But it is also home to a much lesser known yet equally impressive ancient site known as Kapılkaya. Located about 27 kilometers north of the city of Çorum and hidden away inside a mountainous outcropping, is an ancient structure known as the Tomb of Kapılkaya. It is thought to be a tomb of the Hellenistic period, dating back to approximately the 2nd century BC. Rising above a gentle stream that flows beneath the forest floor, a steep trail winds up the left side of a rocky outcropping and eventually leads to a platform of stairs located directly in front of the tomb. And here we have the picture for that. Tomb is not simply a door-shaped facade, but it is actually a cube-shaped structure cut out of the mountain, only connecting to the natural rock around it at a few points. From inside you can actually walk all the way around it or climb up onto its top. The inner chamber of the tomb can only be accessed through entering a small square opening about halfway up the face of the structure, and an inscription above the entrance reads Ikesios II, which some believe is attributed to an ancient commander named Ikesios. Well, I mean, that would kind of make sense. And, you know, just for giggles, look what we have below here as a picture, an elongated skull, and it says, found in Russia. So there you go. This is the Rock Tomb of Kapılkaya. And there really isn't much at all on this place. This is Wikipedia, and as you can see, it's got 2 lines. So again, located in Turkey on a rocky, steep outcrop dating back to the 2nd century BC, they say, but then they say they have no idea who built it. And the inscription says, Ikesios, stands on the door of the tomb's room. Now, I have tried to find internal photos of this place and I haven't found any yet, so I'll keep looking. If I find any, I'll whack them on the video before it goes up. But if anyone is in Turkey and can get to this place, please do, and get me some photos or video and send them to me. Alright, so this is the door. Apparently, as you can see, it's not really a door, but look at the size of this thing. These are people. And this guy's going, yeah, that's a pretty big door. So as you can see, it's connected here and here. So clearly it's not a door, and you can see how thick this thing is. But so I don't know what's happened here, if it's been put in there or if it's been carved out somehow. You know, maybe we're looking at some kind of, flow. This may have been, a building that's been covered in this flow that's then turned to rock. But as we can see, there's steps up here, and these steps, they kind of look human-sized, don't they? So, again, who built this? You can see these steps, they're not giant size. And out the front we've got these 2 pedestals, which no doubt would have had big statues or something on them. Here's another shot. Like I said, this is all I've been able to find. There's not a lot. Again, just held in place by these two bits here. All carved out, nice flat walls. And you can see that, I mean, yes, I'm not sure what's going on here. See how this is all flat? It does look like it may have been cut, but I mean, this may have been flow that's flowed down or melted. And because it's sort of flowed over, it's been easy to chip it off after the event and you know, re-expose this. That's one thing that may have happened, but of course we don't know. What we do need is samples of what this stuff is. Has it been melted? What's in it? Where did it come from? This is another shot. Now this, it's marked the same place. I'm guessing I don't know. It was marked as the same caves, but I'm not sure that it is. But it's definitely the same kind of thing, isn't it? Look at how square this cutout wall is, and you can see here almost a roof that looks like it's had something dumped on top of it. Openings everywhere, and I just wanted to have a look at what that is. Might not be able to get in close enough, but I was noticing this. You can see, so this is clearly a facade that's been broken off, and underneath it looks like this might be rock. I'm not sure, but this stuff is definitely not. See how it looks like pillars or planks of wood or something in the shape, you know, that's been turned to wood. I'm not sure what that is, but then clearly with the facade poured over the top of it. And so this rock here as well, is this the same thing? Because you can see this big line here and all these cuts into it, all these funny shapes. And this looks like it's just fallen down from above. So again, these could all be buildings that were buried in the last cataclysm. Because as you can see, you know, it's got that building shape, hasn't it? It even looks like there might be a door down there. See that? Nice and square. But yeah, just out in the middle of nowhere in Turkey. So I never heard of this place. If you've got any more info on it, let me know. The Batara Gorge Waterfall. This waterfall drops 255 meters or 837 feet into the Balal Porthole, a cave of Jurassic limestone, located on the Lebanon Mountain Trail. So it's up in a mountain, and now they call it a cave. The cave is also known as the Cave of the Three Bridges. Traveling from Leitkout to Tanorin, one passes the village of Balal. The Three Bridges Chasm. Now it's a chasm. Oh my gosh, they don't even know what this is. So let's have a look at some pictures. As you can see, this is all we've got here from Wikipedia. So let's have a look at some pictures of the Batara Gorge sinkhole, is what they're calling it. Sinkhole, cave, chasm with a waterfall. And here we go. So I like this image because look at all of this blue that we've got, and it's sort of looks like it's, you know, running. It's got that sort of running effect, right? Where do you think that comes from, I wonder? Blue. Blue in rocks, hey? The 12 most common blue, violet and purple minerals. So we have, you know, all these kind of gemstones, cordierite, lots of ites. And of course this isn't what we're looking at in that picture. Kyanite, lepidite, and then we get down to oxidized zone minerals. Deeply weathered stones, especially those with the top of a metal-rich rocks and ore bodies, produce many different oxides and hydrated minerals with strong colors. The most common blue or bluish minerals of this type include azurite, chalcocite, chrysolite, linerite, opal, blah 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 blah. Most people will not find these in the field, but any decent rock shop will have all of them. So basically what it's telling us there is hydrated minerals and oxides. Now oxides are metals. And here we just have a few more bits, and down here other blue minerals and not many of them. So basically what it's telling us is blue is really gemstones. You know, these are all the ites, or deeply weathered zones, metal-rich rocks, or ore bodies. And you can see how blue that is. So that, you know, metal, right? And really the only other blue I can find is this blue schist. And it's basically metamorphic, formed by the metamorphism of basalt. So basically heat melted. But it doesn't really look like what we're seeing in this picture, because this is very, very blue. And it looks a lot more like this color, oxidized minerals, metal-rich rocks. So of course I'm not, so you can see the color there, see this color right in there, pretty much the same. See that? And that. What do you reckon? So I'm not a geologist, obviously, so if anyone knows, you know, another reason why these why we might get this blue streaking, please let me know in the comments. And as you can see, this man here is even dressed for the occasion, matching the rocks. But in here we can see this is a pretty big, you know, again, they call it a sinkhole, but then they call it a cave. So it's basically just a big hole in the ground, I guess. And they don't know what it is. And also just have a look at this edge here, I guess. Got a nice straight top along here. This is a slightly different angle. Again, we get all the blue, and you can see there's a bridge here, and it's called the what was it called? The 3 levels, and I'll show you those in a minute. There's actually levels down here, and look, more people dressing up with the blue, and you can see how small these people are. So this is a very people. So this is a very large hole. You would not want to fall down there. People do rock climb and abseil and things down there, and there's a bit of power. And here's the different levels. So this is just another wider shot. There's that bridge we saw, and as you can see, there is a waterfall. Actually falls through a hole in the roof, and you can see it's yeah. What do you reckon this is? Is this a huge old building that's underground and the roof's collapsed in? Because here is where the water comes through, and we see this a lot in nature, don't we? These just holes in, you know, walls that look like they're almost curved. And of course we have all these levels down here as it goes down into the ground. So there you go. What do you think this one is? Because we just see these striations and stuff everywhere, don't we? Of course, all these, you know, places need, you know, a lot more hands, some boots on the ground, hands on the rocks, you know, investigation. We need, you know, samples, core samples of what this stuff actually is. Has it been melted? What's the makeup? Blah, blah, blah. Port Flavia in Masua or Massau, Italy. This cliff-faced port is considered a masterpiece of mining engineering. And of course here you can see it is built straight into the cliff. And it says, no other port or sea harbour in the world is quite like Italy's Porto Flavia. Built in 1924, the ingenious cliff-faced port allowed workers to lower ore directly down the cliff into cargo ships waiting below. Ingenious. In 1922, the Massau mining operations in Sardinia, which had been active ever since the early 1600s, had reached a peak of production. Zinc and lead were in high demand, and modernizing mining methods meant that more ore was being extracted than ever before. Efficiency, however, was becoming a serious issue. At the time, transporting the zinc and lead ore from the mines to the nearest port was a lengthy and costly process, so the sailors had to come from other islands. So basically what they're saying is they had to take it across the land, So what they did is they decided to build this port instead so they could lower it onto the ships and take it across on ships. Vercelli had an ingenious plan. He proposed the construction of a port built directly into the cliff face in the 1920s. The cliff face would be connected to the top of the cliffs via a system of tunnels. Oh, really? Through which the lead and zinc would be carried down. The water of his chosen location was deep enough and sheltered enough for steamships to moor below, from which they could be loaded by gravity alone. There you go. A small electric train was installed in the upper tunnel and was used to bring in the ore from above. The ore was then tipped down into the reservoirs where it could be unloaded onto a conveyor belt in the lower tunnel. So this place, built directly into the cliff in 1924, if you're going to believe that. Oh, I'll leave you this link too. There's a few other interesting places down here. And this is what they came up with. Port Flavia. And as we just heard, it's full of tunnels and it even has a train. So here we have a few more images of Porto Flavia. As you can see, it's a pretty cool location. Looks like there's a big sort of natural tunnel under here. I'm not sure. We don't really hear much about that. Nice big cut down here, isn't there? Big straight line. But yeah, look at this. Just built literally just straight onto the cliff there. And then through the cliffs going up there are tunnels. And of course, all made by men without machinery back in the 1920s. Here's another shot. And this is the entrance to the tunnels. And of course, just look at the architecture, the features that we have here. Fairly familiar. And of course, the story is they did all this. They dug all these tunnels straight through solid rock, through cliffs, because that was easier than transporting the ore over land. And of course, they built a train in here, in the tunnels. But that was easier than just building a train across the land to carry the ore, right? Because this was all to save time and labour. So why didn't they just build a train across the ground? Because they've said that they've gone in and dug all these tunnels, built all this infrastructure, put trains in here. You can see where the train was. And yeah, all just for a bit of, to save some time and effort, where really it would have been a lot cheaper and a lot less effort to just put a train on top of the ground, if that's what they could do. And see these bits in here as well. Down at that doorway, you can see we've got, that's an actual doorway going sideways there. And this is it back in the day. And we can see we've got a ship down here, and we've got this big conveyor belt that's carrying the ore out, and it looks like it sort of goes through a bag to slow it down a bit, and they fill up the ships. And that's why it was built, essentially for this. Another shot, of course, that conveyor belt is now gone. It looks like there's a bit of a port or something left down the bottom there. Bit of, don't know what that is. Bit of wreckage. There we go again, the entrance to the door. Nice curved doorway, of course. And another shot from back in the day, and people about to do a bit of cliff diving. And of course, it looks nothing at all like a castle. No old world features at all on this one, you know, so no questions need to be asked, I guess. Okay, so just a few more pictures just to show that these things, these doorways, entranceways into what seem to be cliffs, mountains, whatever, solid rock, they're everywhere. You can see here, I'm not actually sure where this one is, couldn't find a description. But apart from this, you know, perfectly squared off entrance or room or whatever it is, You know, there's another one right next to it there. And we've got these sort of cut lines, and even it looks like a bit of, I don't know, what is that, drag, or see how that sort of comes down to here? Melt, maybe? What do you think? But yeah, look at this, and we're even like, this is all, look at it all. Now, of course, everyone, you know, even the alternative history researchers, you know, like Graham Hancock and all these kind of people, they're still on that this is all has to be cut out. They think it all needs to be, this has, you know, had to have been cut. And then, of course, once you say that, then you've got, you know, high technology to do this kind of stuff. But the theory of, you know, some kind of mud flood covering a built building would make a lot more sense. And even with this stuff, you know, was this when they were building the buildings, or, you know, were they molding them? Because I really don't think that they were cutting these out with the lasers. How could you cut the back of a block out and pull it forward? How do you do that? I don't think it's possible. So just a few random images. Here's another one. Now I think this is different, a different place, but basically the same, you know, effect, the same phenomena. Just perfectly square hole cut into a cliff. And of course this one has been cracked like an egg. This one's actually in Göbekli Tepe. And it's this, you know, this is like that hole we just saw in that sinkhole. And we see these everywhere in caves. These, you know, they look like the oculus. But apparently this just fell through and there's a big cavern under there. And Göbekli Tepe, I think, is still 80% covered. So that could be an entire city down there for all we know. This was Greece back in the day. Now, as we see, we've got the founders here standing up for a photo opportunity. And, I mean, look at this devastation. Look, it's just mud flow everywhere. In the background, of course, what we see everywhere. Got the Parthenon up here on top of a huge wall. A massive, massive wall. And then down under the ground here, we've just got stories and stories. I mean, this looks maybe like an aqueduct. I'm not sure. But this, you know, this looks like a building. Doorways going in under here. I mean, it's just, you know, civilization built on civilization, built on civilization. And then we have these, you know, jokers come along and claim that they built it all and charge us to access our past and the buildings that our ancestors built. These parasites want us to pay for it. Here's another shot. Same thing, and you can see all the flow. Look at it all the mud flow. It's just come over the walls and flowed down, buried everything. And I mean, how big is that drop down to the bottom here? So how much has been covered up? I mean, what was going on here? I mean, it clearly looks like there's just stuff under the ground that's just been built on top of, and built on top of hundreds of years ago, at least. Some more just, you know, squared off, right angles, cut into the cliff. You can see this goes straight in there, into this rock. You know, got half a stairway just sitting here. I mean, that may have been retrofitted. It looks like it's just sort of sitting there. And, you know, just all these funny marks in the stone. And, of course, we're told this is stone, naturally formed stone, and they've come in and cut it out. But, I mean, is that practical? Is that even possible? You know, especially with the narrative of they had no tools or tech, which wasn't true, no doubt. But this is the thing, or is this, because you can even see a window in there. Has this been covered with something? Then it's a building already, or has this been carved when this was not quite solid? Poured maybe, and then melted. You know, many scenarios. This is what we're trying to get to the bottom of, really, is what's going on here. And again, just these, I mean, look at this. Just built in, looks like this, I don't know if it's been chipped away, but why would they build this going into a solid rock face? You can't get in there, there's nothing there. Got steps up here, and then here we have a doorway and a tunnel going straight into this cliff or whatever this is. But this, you know, clearly we can almost see the bricks. You see all the lines and everything. This looks melted. Look at these steps. You know, it looks like something's gone on here, and that this was probably a whole building, and these are the bits that, I don't know, were just a bit more heat resistant maybe. But clearly just, you know, this earth is just looking like we're just on the remains of ancient civilizations, which we are. Complete reset world. And look at this again. I mean, you can see this is all carved, this rock, and then it's been broken and smashed afterwards. And again, we get our right angles here. Is it possible to even do this with lasers and high tech? Because again, how would you cut this back wall down so you could pull this out? So, you know, the mainstream narrative not making sense, but also, you know, the sort of accepted alternative narrative of, you know, high tech and lasers and that, not, you know, that's not even making sense either. We're dealing with something different here, I think. Now this is another doorway, so I might have a look at this in another video around the same area. But look, the same thing. I mean, this actually looks like a massive box inside, like a hole that's been cut for it or made for it or whatever this is. And steps, and of course, again, just a hole here. It doesn't look like you can get in it. I just had a little bit of a look into that. I think it's in Turkey, but we'll get into that in a later video. And this is from back in the day. This was marked Ottoman Empire. Up here we've got Asi Minyor Lysi. And as you can see, this is back in the day. And the same thing. Get all these, you know, what we're told are man-made cliffs with all these interesting shapes and things all over them. And then just buildings. You know, what we're told are Greco-Roman buildings just built up into the cliffs all the way up. Now, how practical is it for these people with no machinery to do that? How are they going to be carting all their materials up here to build this stuff? And even on the very top, we've got a castle. Another one from back in the day. Again, Ottoman Empire. In the background, as always, castle on a hill. And look at this. Looks like the whole front's been smashed off it. Inside there's, I don't know, what was a big building by the looks of it. It keeps going up here. And columns and everything, and even some windows. So was that once the outside wall and it's been covered over? I'm not sure. Got bits and pieces and relics here, so they've found this back in the day, and to them, it looks like this, you know, back then, this was ancient to them. So it doesn't look like they made this. They don't look like they're the builders. They definitely look like they are the discoverers. And how would you like to live here? Got your boat, up your ladder, and then of course you need tunnels all the way through this rock to get up onto the top and into your house. Great views. Backyard isn't really that big. And what's your first step? But this is real. This is, I'm not exactly sure. It looks like Thailand, but I'm not exactly sure. Probably Mediterranean somewhere. But yeah, how? And even more, why? Why would you build this? Because again, they would have to, just before they started, they would have to get up and dig this doorway, then dig tunnels all the way through, going up, get rid of all the material that came out, and get to the top before they could start building this. And then, of course, all the material would have to be brought up, unless they want us to believe that they somehow carved the stone that they tunneled out and turned it into bricks. I don't know. I mean, seriously, look at that. I couldn't find the name for this, so if you do know what it is, leave it below, and I might have a bit more of a look into it, because that's ridiculous. And these again, I think they were Turkey. I just found a couple of these when I was going through Pinterest, so I just grabbed them because they were very cool. I mean, look at this. This actually looking, you know, more like, I don't know, a big building that's been covered, maybe, rendered. but it is kind of black. But all the roofs are black. I don't know if that's the stone, but yeah, clearly just big multi-story houses inside, you know, what we would be told is natural rock formations. You know, we'd be told that they carved this, not that they made it from scratch, which they probably did. So it may be covered in something, it may be not. It may have just lost its facade. We don't know. And here's another one. So these things are everywhere. Look at this, even like getting smaller, fractaling up. Fractal compression. Straight into the side of a mountain. So very much like Lord of the Rings, right? Lord of the Rings and gnomes. The dwarfs. Dwarfs that live under the mountains, you know, forging their iron, you know, the miners. And of course, right, that narrative, the miners, and these, they want us to believe are mines. But as we know in Lord of the Rings, there's a whole city under the mountain. So what's really under here? Because of course, Wooden Nichols put out a video yesterday, and he showed a place in Turkey that they are turning into a luxury resort, literally inside a mountain. And this is right smack bang where we know the old civilization was, where it's been melted. You know, it's a lot of devastation went on there, and they're now claiming that they've hollowed out this mountain to turn it into like a luxury hotel. So check out, I'll leave the link to it below so you can check it out. And yeah, when you look at it, you'll see it just looks much more like they sort of found it and they've renovated it. The whole building inside a mountain. And this building again, here, this picture, again from the Ottoman Empire. So we're talking 1700s. Ottoman Empire, basically Tartaria guys. And again, look at this, what we see. Just bits of broken buildings standing up. So this obviously not going into a mountain, but this might be showing us what these things in the cliffs are, you know, because look at this, freestanding. Got the doorways and they look like that's rock. Is that just the natural building? Is that the natural building without its facade? Has it fallen off somehow, been stolen? Is it some kind of melting's taken place, but this is, you know, more heat resistant, these doorways, the materials? Many questions, leave your comments below. Because of course this whole thing, it's still a mystery. You know, we're doing as much as we can to find interesting information, but all you guys are definitely a part of it. You know, it takes us all, we're all pieces of the puzzle to get this sorted out. And when you look at this, just completely cut out, but even just up the top here, you can see there's cuts, different cuts everywhere, or whatever they are. I don't know what they are. And yeah, you can just walk straight inside this as well. Why not? And back to this blue cave. So there we go. So yeah, check out, if you don't know what could cause this, because they're saying it's probably metal or some kind of ore. So again, is this from the infrastructure of what this used to be? And it's just rusted away and turned into blueness. So there you go, guys. You know, what's under mountains? What is it? You know, this whole city, the more we look, the more we find. And like I said, check out that video by Wooden Nichols. I'll leave the link, because that'll blow your mind what they're planning. And we see this so often. You know, they show us these plans, right, which are basically finished drawings of what they want to build, and then suddenly it's built in like a year or 6 months. And they don't have the construction plans. They've just got photos and pictures of it done. You know, is this happening before our eyes now? They're just going to, you know, renovate an old world building that's been covered and is now considered a mountain. And if they know about that, what else do they know about? We know about, you know, the tunnels and the dams and all these things underground. So what really is down there? That's the question. And of course, John Levi also has done some excellent work on this topic and many others. So check them all out. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Just not that quick. I hope you found that one interesting. again, big thank you to everyone who supports this channel in whatever way you can. If you would like to support me, there are links below. And of course, please like, share this workout, and subscribe if you haven't already, so we can get this out, get the world questioning, where are we really? And, why have they lied to us about our past? Why do we have his story instead of our story? All right, guys, thanks for spending some time with me. Stay awesome, because you are. And I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.